He tried to put in perspective this continuum of empathy. Empathy is one of many forms of communication, and all forms of communication have their place and their validity. I mean, probably one of the best things to do is to learn how to ask questions of other people, to find out all kinds of information. If you find the information isn't really safe and is really filled with a lot of emotion, and if they also desire to be understood, and you have enough credibility in their mind that you would be a person that they might open up with a little, then start empathy rather than autobiography. But if the emotional bank account is there, if the issue is not that jugular, not that emotional, and if they're totally willing to be understood, like a doctor, tell me a little about your history. What kind of medicine are you on? I want the expertise of that person. I want them to probe. There's probably no more efficient way to get at information than asking questions than probing. But if you're dealing with what you might call tender, vulnerable areas where people really would like to go deeper and they need help and they're in pain, probing is efficient but ineffective. It saves time now and takes much more time long run, as you found out in the early part of the role play. And so I'm creating a situation which essentially precludes autobiographical responses altogether, which means you can't come out of you. You have to come out of me and to reflect it accurately and completely. Not to do it as some little listening technique, but to do it deeply and sincerely is another thing altogether. I'll give you a key. Have you ever spoken through a translator? Tell me, what did the translator do the whole time you were giving that speech to that group, that audience, or that person? Where was the frame of mind of the translator?
Really trying to get my feeling or the essence of the message.
Okay, and then to communicate it accurately and completely. Not just the content, but the feeling, right? Catch the role. Catch the role. You're a faithful translator. And then within that role, you'll catch the feeling. Now, watch how relatively easy it will be for him. Here's the mother. You're my translator. In a sense, you're standing right next to me, see? And we're talking to the mother. Yeah, I mean, this school is so important, Mom. It just is, it's just the whole key to the person's future. See, I speak one language, she speaks another, so I've had to work through a translator. You are a faithful translator to me. You just need it, Mom. I mean, it's just so important, Mom.
He feels very strongly about the importance of education in his life.
See how basically simple that was? You hadn't figured me out. You didn't deal with Joe. I wasn't into Joe. You didn't probe. You didn't agree. You didn't disagree. You didn't evaluate. You were with my head. You captured the essence of my feeling, how strong I feel about education. Yeah, Dad, I don't know. Just a lot of problems out there. And boy, they really throw your world sometimes.
I can sense that you're really troubled about your surroundings.
Really? Now look, see, you're getting at it. Whether it's exactly on, the spirit is, you are into me. You're not figuring me out. You're not trying to analyze me. You're not You're not trying to take control. You're not trying to manipulate me towards some worthy end. The key to listening is with the eyes and the heart. Mom, here's your translator. Yeah,
It's hard to talk about.
It's hard to talk about this. It's a struggle. It's not easy. You almost got to get your own spirit. Not that you are agreeing, but that you're so empathic, not sympathetic. Sympathy is not empathy. And this is why many people think that you can't really do this unless you've had the experience of the other, the opposite. It's because you haven't had the experience, you empathize. If you have, you could sympathize. Sympathy is an altogether different response. It also has its appropriate uses. I'm sorry you lost your father. I just so sorry to hear about that. It must be such a hard, I'm not talking about sympathy, empathy. Notice how you're working. The one who listens does the most work, not the one who speaks. Now, Dad, I took this test and, they put me at the 7th grade level. Here I am in the 10th, and I just had no idea. None at all. But I'll tell you this, at least it kind of felt good to know where I'm standing.
He feels relieved, at least he knows.
One word, not long answers. 1, 2, 3 words sometimes. When you're obviously understanding the content, you don't need to restate the content. Get at the feeling. If you're not sure you understand the content, restate it. If you're not sure the other person feels the content has been understood, restate it. In either condition. And when you're dealing with emotional issues is the time to really practice, to really use true empathic communication. Those are the 3 primary times. When you're not sure you understand, when you're not sure the other feels understood, or when the issue is really kind of charged with emotion. Seek to understand. I'm going to role play for a second with this boy. Well, son, what score did you get? Son, at one time in my life, can't you instantly see? Well, son, I wouldn't get too discouraged about that, because the key is that you learn from that and you can, what about advice? Or what about sympathy? Oh, don't worry about that. That's okay, son. We understand. Or what about agreeing? Well, I agree. I can see why you're so upset and why you're so disturbed. And I think what we should do maybe, or to disagree. Well, I don't know if that was a good test. What kind of a test was that? I've heard about some of these tests, and it discourages young people. And I don't want you to feel discouraged, son, because I think you're further than that. I'd like to check into that. You see, everyone here, once you get into an empathic frame of mind, you know instantly the futility and the counterproductiveness of people who try to be understanding and helpful through autobiographical approaches. That's why you would be doubly careful about anything you do at this stage, because now you are on holy ground. You really are. And I'm so vulnerable to you. Dad, I don't see any way out.
Oh, he's just
hopeless.
Beautiful. Feeling of hopelessness. Yeah, I mean, do you see any way, Dad?
He's asking for advice.
That's beautiful. See? You didn't say, yes, I do. You stayed as a faithful translator. You didn't say, I have some ideas, son. He basically said, you want my reaction. He's asking for advice. See? He's asking for some help. I mean, where are we now in the eyeglass demonstration? Where are we now? We've completed the diagnosis. And this will become one of the most bonding experiences we can have because of what we've had to go through.
You're asking for my help. You want to know.
Yeah.
You want to know if there's any options out there that
I don't. You know, right at this stage, see? I see something, son. Really? What? Tutoring? I've checked into tutoring 2 nights every week, all day Saturday.
You think that would be too much?
Beautiful. Look what she did. As soon as I got into my emotion, see? Now we're dealing with an action plan, but I'm back into my emotion. She stays with empathy. You go to empathy when the person has a lot of emotion attached there and has the need to be understood. If the rapport between you is extremely high, you hardly even have to say a thing. Or be just one word or a nod may be sufficient. That was tremendous. Yeah, if I really thought that tutoring course would help, I'd give up everything. I'd give up any night.
If you believed it would work, then you'd make the sacrifices.
Yeah, I would. Do you think it would? You want my reaction to it. I do, Dad. I think it would, son. Let me tell you why. I'm open, see? We're synergistically creating a new thing. We're at a whole different stage now.